Hi, welcome to another edition of Engineering with LEGO Bricks and Robolab. I'm Eric Wong, and I'll be your host. Events. Okay, the agenda for today is let's talk about what is an event. I guess I should have a question mark in that because that's a question. The 3 steps to the setting up and using an event, and finally a timer event, because that is really the most common one, and so I'll talk about a couple of uses there. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. So the overview, what is an event? Well, an event is basically like a wait for in the background, that runs in the background. So let me give you an example here. I'll go over the details in just a second. So I got a timer event here that's basically saying I'm going to wait for the timer to get to 7 seconds in this case. And I go in and I start this program, and this is an infinite loop. And this thing will beep and beep and beep and beep until the timer reaches 70/10ths of a second, as in tenths of a second. So until it reaches 7 seconds. So it'll beep and beep and beep, and after 7 seconds, it'll jump out of the infinite loop and land over here, and the program will end. So the reason why I call it as a wait for, because while it's doing this, while it's doing the rest of the program, beeping or driving around, whatever it is, it's monitoring the background. Every once in a while it says, hey, has that event occurred? Is the timer greater than 7? And so it goes through here and it's doing this and doing this. Every once in a while it says, hey, is the timer exceeded 7? No, okay, keep doing this, keep doing this. And finally it asks the question, hey, is the timer greater than 7? Yes. Oh, okay. That's the condition I was waiting for. Stop doing what I'm doing and come down here and land. So it's kind of like a wait for and then a land in combination with wait for. Because of course if you had a wait for, you can't do anything else while you're waiting. So this allows you to do something while you're waiting. So what are the 3 steps to set up an event? Well, to use an event. Well, step 1 is to set it up. And you basically set up a condition. You're saying, hey, in this case I'm saying I'm waiting for the red timer to get above a value of 70. So it's at 70/10ths of a second. Let me turn on my wiring tool so you can see the terminals, the event source. So what am I waiting for? The red timer. What's the threshold? It means I'm waiting for it to get above 70/10ths of a second. And which event am I going to monitor? Which is, there are actually 3 different color events, red, blue, and yellow. And there are some generic ones also in case you want to use more than 3. Although I don't necessarily suggest that because it gets a little unreliable. So set up the event. So now it knows what to look for in the background. Step 2 is actually tell it to start monitoring for the event. These 2 things don't have to happen next to each other, although obviously step 1 has to happen before step 2. But you may indeed drive around and do a bunch of programming stuff before you actually start monitoring for the event. But in this case, I'm monitoring the event right away. And then I go on and do my program, this infinite loop. And the 3rd step is to have an event landing, which tells it when the event occurs, where do you want to come down in the program. Now the event landing here is shown at the end, but it could be anywhere in the program. So it could jump forward or it could jump backwards in the program if you so desire. But the 3 steps: set up the event, tell it what is it you want to look for in the background, start monitoring for the event, so you got to tell it start looking for this now, because otherwise it won't start monitoring for it. And then finally tell it what to do when the event occurs, where to come down. So that's the 3 steps. So lastly on the agenda, the timer event. So why is it that I said the timer event is the most common event used by my students? Let's give you a scenario. Let's say I'm building a line following robot and I want it to follow the line basically. And so it's turning left and turning right, turning left and turning right, and it's following the line. Now you expect to see the line every half a second or so. But if you don't see the line every half second or so, well, that probably means you've lost a line. And you're probably wandering around the room someplace. And so you can use a timer event to determine if you're lost. Basically, you have a timer event like this, and every time you see the line, you reset the timer back to 0. And then you say, hey, if the timer gets greater than, I don't know, half a second maybe, or a second, well, that means I'm lost because I haven't seen the line. I should see the line every second or so, and I haven't seen it. So every time the light sensor sees the line, set the timer back to 0. Sees the line, set the timer back to 0. And after half a second or so, if I haven't seen the line, that means you're lost. So you come down the event landing, and then you do your emergency procedures. Hey, go off and try and find the line again. Hang a 180 or do whatever, do ever-expanding spirals or something to find the line again. And you can do this with all kinds of robots that determine what-if scenarios. If I'm lost, I should do something else. And timers turn out to be a great way to do that.